I've got some bad news. There's an obesity epidemic in America, and I'm here to deliver hard truths and tough love. I'm talking, of course, about all of the bloated federal health agencies larded up with expensive, self-dealing, wasteful, and downright unhealthy programs and policies. Starting with the Department of Health and Human Services, it's time to put the government on a diet. Project DOGE is about to get ripped. For the last 5 years, the American political landscape has been defined by the greatest public health failings in my or anyone else's lifetime. And your tax dollars paid for all of it. Ignoring all common sense and reasonable precautions, the National Institutes for Health funded research that resulted in the accidental release of a deadly virus that swept across the world, killing millions. In an effort to cover their tracks, those responsible lied to Congress and suppressed true information. Public health bureaucrats at NIH, Health and Human Services, the Centers for Disease Control, and even the FDA pushed for authoritarian policies seemingly more about control than safety, and then tried to destroy the careers of honest scientists who warned against the humanitarian disaster that would result from lockdowns and mandates, particularly for people struggling at the margin. Public health? Yeah, right. Americans' trust in public health has plummeted to zero, and with good reason. Is there any way to get it back? One might be to clean house at these public health agencies, replacing career bureaucrats with actual scientists who value the truth over lining their own pockets or pushing a certain narrative. Donald Trump has nominated Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Kennedy has been a fierce critic of Anthony Fauci and wrote a book exposing Fauci's lies during the pandemic, so he seems like a good pick to go after the corruption of the federal department with the largest budget.
And then NIH is just an incubator for pharmaceutical products. So it develops the vaccines, hands them over to the industry, hands them over to the universities, which then get NIH money, $200, $300 million to do phase 2 and phase 1 and phase 2 trials. Then if those are successful, which they always are because they make them successful, they then call in the pharmaceutical company to do a phase 3, and then they all divide up the royalty, the patent margin rights, and then they all go, then Tony Fauci, who's the head of NIH, walks it through the regulatory process at FDA and CDC, where he's picked the members of the panels who are all taking money from him. And they know their product is next in line, and their job is to rubber stamp this product and recommend it to children. So I saw this process and how it worked. And it's beyond, it was regulatory capture on steroids.
Meanwhile, in perhaps the greatest piece of poetic justice I've ever seen, Trump has nominated Jay Bhattacharya to run the NIH, the same agency that tried to destroy his reputation.
In October 2020, Francis Collins wrote an email calling me and my colleagues Martin Kulldorff of Harvard and Sunetra Gupta of Oxford fringe epidemiologists, and then he called for a devastating takedown, which led to, just media hit pieces, vile attacks on me and my family. It was really quite stressful.
Reforming public health agencies is not just about righting previous wrongs or restoring public trust in science. It's about something far more important: preventing the abuses that led to COVID from ever happening again. Getting this one right is literally a matter of life and death. The public health establishment was exposed during COVID, but its failures go back a long time and extend to far more than infectious disease. Organizations like the FDA and the USDA have been lying to us about our food for decades. You may remember the food pyramid. It claims that we should eat lots of carbohydrates and not very much protein or fat. And for a long time, we believed what we were told. The only problem is, it turns out to be dead wrong. Pushing processed carbohydrates loaded with sugar and demonizing meat and eggs has led to historically high obesity rates and an epidemic of chronic disease that could have been avoided. It turns out that USDA policy was captured by the corporate producers of processed sugary foods and farm interests more invested in politics than in producing healthy food. Think big corn, big soy, and big sugar. USDA regulations prevent small and independent farmers from competing with politically connected big industrial meat processors, making it impossible for many people to buy local, minimally processed foods from their trusted neighbors. Thomas Massie has been at the forefront of pushing back against these regulations and expanding food freedom.
There's two trends right now in America, and they're at odds with each other. You've got moms who want to know where the food's coming from that they're feeding their children, and they long for the wholesome, nutrient-dense food that our grandparents used to eat. Meanwhile, you've got four companies, they're multinational companies that control meat processing in the United States. 85% of the meat processed is done by one of these companies. One's owned by China, one's owned by Brazil. My Prime Act is catching on in the House and the Senate. It says if you're not crossing state lines, if you're engaged in local commerce, then a farmer should be able to use a local processor and sell to a local consumer. It's that simple.
Food freedom is not just about protecting Americans' choices. It's about taking control of your own health, so we don't have to depend on career bureaucrats like Anthony Fauci to protect us from disease. The best defense is a strong immune system and good general health, and that starts with the food we eat.
Every person should be able to sign a food declaration of independence that says, okay, I'm going to take responsibility for my own health, and I don't need the government to tell me what I can and can't buy, and basically opt out of this whole scheme. That would be a wonderful thing.
Health and Human Services spends more money than any other federal department, with a budget of over $1.6 trillion. If there's anywhere DOGE should be able to find fat to cut, it's within HHS. In fact, DOGE has already begun to highlight some of the wasteful spending that goes on within these agencies. Like so many of our highest institutions, HHS has lost sight of its true mission, protecting Americans' health, and is instead focused on politically motivated projects that prioritize diversity, equity, and inclusion over sound health policy, to the tune of about $68 million a year. The CDC spends millions every year doing research on gun control, which, the last time I checked, has nothing to do with disease. Between incompetence, corruption, bloated budgets, and activity that is downright criminal, our public health establishment is a complete mess. It's time to get back to healthy choices, personal responsibility, and informed consent. So-called public health has become a contradiction. And if we want to restore confidence in our healthcare institutions, it's time to put all of these bloated agencies on the DOGE chopping block.